After we did a complete analysis of the situation around the community outside Kahnawake and what's happening there, as well as obviously internally to the community, looking at the trends and such, we felt confident lowering the alert level to orange, which is a substantial step for us to start the process of reduction further of measures so that our community could start the path back to whatever the new normal is going to look like. We feel confident taking this step, but it's also dependent largely upon the cooperation of the community. Just because we lowered the alert level doesn't mean that the pandemic is over, nor that we have to not follow safety measures. As long as people continue in being a cooperative partner, as we've seen throughout the pandemic, we can look forward to further reduction of measures in the weeks to come. And then hopefully, down the road, we'll even lower the alert level even further. I did prepare documentation, which was submitted to Council on Wednesday, requesting the extension of the state of emergency after May 21st. On our rollout of the green, yellow, orange, and red, in orange, we are still in a state of emergency. However, within the documentation, what we want to do as a task force is to oversee this first phase of reopening, this first major changes that are coming about, to be able to oversee it properly, monitor it properly, and ensure that the authorities are clear on where the direction is coming from. So we want to extend that state of emergency, again. But with the goal and the hoping to be able to go back to council and prior to the end of June 21st, sometime in early June, to request the removal of the state of emergency and formally go into the recovery phase of the pandemic. And everything is looked at from a high level perspective, right? We look at many factors and basically do a risk analysis on what can be done safely, and if it's deemed to be a risk is too high, and then that's something that we rather hold off on. So when it came to the latest changes in the measures, it has been proven, and more scientific data comes out about outdoor activities are deemed to be much more safe, obviously, than indoors. Outdoor sports have been approved in general. And again, there's a lot of safety measures that we put in place that people are expected to follow. Again, it's all for the health and safety of everybody involved. Indoor sports at this point in time, well, we have the gyms are open, maximum 8 people as we speak. It's something that has not been approved as of yet, but it's something that is being looked at as we speak. It's an ongoing assessment. We didn't want to take too many steps too quick. So what we felt comfortable with now is we made a decision based on that. At one point it was no gatherings, then we moved to 8, and now we feel again that we can move to 12 people outdoor gatherings, whether that be public or private. Distancing, mask and hygiene where appropriate are always still apply to do the best to maintain that. That comes about to ensure that again we allow more families to get together in a more meaningful way, but in a safe way. It's a step in the process. Again, everything is an ongoing assessment, and we'll see in the weeks to come if that could again hopefully modify. But again, we want to take those small steps and be safe. And a similar concept with we're looking at restaurants. As we know, outside the territory, everything is still closed. But we felt that we could take the first step, given the stabilized situation within Kahnawake, the overall stable situation outside the territory. But again, our vaccination rate in the community is good. We're at or very near 75% vaccination. Our frontline essential service staff, the vast majority of them will have 2 vaccinations by the end of this week, so they'll be fully vaccinated. Along with many of the elders will also have 2 vaccinations, so that gives us a bit more comfort in moving forward. So with all these things taken into consideration, as well as the mental health and being able to have people have more things to do, we felt that restaurants were a part of that element, and outdoor terraces. A lot of people enjoy eating outdoors, so those will be permitted to be opening as of Friday the 21st, as well as indoor to maximum of 25% capacity within their facilities. And they'll be working in conjunction with our safety inspectors to ensure that it's clearly understood on the details behind that. As part of this phase 1, we are looking at Kahnawake only, or those people who are working within the community to go to the restaurants. Again, this is a temporary step. Some of these things people may think is too restrictive, but some people are also very concerned about opening anything. So we feel it's a compromise to be able to allow the businesses to have a little more clientele potential, but also do it in a safe manner. Because the last thing we want to have to do is what we've seen, in the province several times, is start opening things up and then have to stop and reclose. That's the last thing anybody wants to do. So we want to do it in small steps, assessing as we go, and then hopefully continue on that path where eventually we could look something like we did 2 years ago.